What's going on, everybody? Today we are in Springfield, Illinois. Now, Springfield is the capital of Illinois, but it's also known as the home of Abraham Lincoln. Now, Abraham Lincoln bought a home here in Springfield. It was the only home he ever owned, and today we're going to take a tour of it, so come along. Now, Springfield is a very historic town, and right over here is the parking lot for the Lincoln home. Now, they have tours every hour on the hour, and the tours are free. This is state funded, but parking does cost $2 an hour. And when you see this sign, you know you've made it here. The National Park Service. Welcome to the Lincoln Home National Historic Site. Now, last time I was here, it was during COVID, and the home was no longer open. So today we'll actually be able to go in and take a look. It says next available Lincoln home tour in approximately 1 hour. And if you come to visit, you just go up these steps and they have a visitor center there. And the big building back here is a hotel. But we're here for the day and we're here for tomorrow. So the next couple of days there's going to be videos on the Lincoln home, the Lincoln tomb, and some other interesting sites around the area. As you can see, there's the state capitol back there. But a pretty interesting city. Well, let's head into the visitor center and see what they have. That's pretty neat. There's a photo of the Lincoln house. And if you can see right here, there he is. I'm not sure I'd like that many people in my front yard. How about you? Oh, I certainly do appreciate this vending machine. You can get water, Pepsi products, and they have the Lincoln home here, Lincoln signature, and the welcome plaque from Lincoln's door. Nice picture of it. Over here we have a couple of theaters where they show a video about the Lincoln home before the tour. And here's our ticket for the 11 o'clock tour. Here you could pick up some Lincoln shirts. Route 66, which actually goes through Springfield. You can even get yourself an Abraham Lincoln top hat. They have statues and all kinds of different souvenirs. And some books and mugs. And one of the ones that I'll show you, this right here, Stealing Lincoln's Body, that is a really fascinating book. I have read it. They also did a documentary about it for the History Channel, and that's a really good watch and a good read if you ever get a chance. Here's a little more information on the house. It says, "Welcome to the park. On May 1st, 1844, Abraham, Mary, and 9-month-old Robert moved into a little house on the corner of 8th and Jackson Street, which is right in front of us. This rapidly growing community was home to immigrants from Ireland, Germany, France, and the Madeira Islands, Portugal, as well as the free African Americans and families from over 10 different states. Each was looking to build their life here in the central Illinois prairie." Now, we are going into the house at 11 o'clock, but before that, I might as well take you over here and show you what I can show you. Now, this road is blocked off to traffic, so you can pretty much walk around as you wish. Some of the homes on this street are open, but I don't believe any of them are occupied. There is a lot of history on this street, though, and I'll show you what I can. And we will go into the house in just a little while. But I'll give you a little bit of the ambiance of the street. Now, supposedly not a whole lot has changed here since the Lincolns lived here. They have done a really good job at maintaining the property and maintaining the neighborhood. But there are a lot of informational plaques around here. But the neighborhood consists of this block here and this block over here. Now here's a little more information. Feel free to pause it if you'd like to read it. But it says in 1839 the house was a 1.5-story cottage constructed for Reverend Charles Dresser. Now that's who Lincoln bought the home from, and they moved in here in 1844. In 1855 to 1856, the home was raised to 2 full stories. The bedroom was moved to the upstairs portion of the home, allowing for the creation of the rear parlor. The iron railing was added to the second floor porch, and a wall was put in place to separate the kitchen and the dining room. Now in 1861, the Lincoln family moved to Washington, D.C. after Lincoln was elected president, and he never again set foot on this property or in Springfield until he was returned for burial after his assassination. But this is the Lincoln home right up here. There are a lot of photos of him. Well, I guess I shouldn't say a lot, but there's several photos of him standing right over here and in front of the door. But Lincoln lived here for a lot of years, and at the beginning of the video I mentioned that this is the only home that Lincoln ever owned. As you can see, it says A. Lincoln right there on the front. Now, the neat thing about visiting presidents' homes is that most of them are run by the Park District, so you can come and visit most of these for free. There are a couple exceptions, a few presidential homes that are now private residences that you cannot visit. There's a couple of them that have been torn down, but for the most part, they have done a really good job at preserving history, and it's really neat that you can come and visit these places. Now, this is the backyard right here. And he had a horse named Old Bob, and I believe this is where he would have been kept, right in here. But you can also wander into the backyard, and that's not always open, so that's kind of a neat thing. A day with the Lincolns. It's just really interesting to think of the things that would have happened on this property, in this yard. You know, there's still a lot that's not really known about how life was back then or what people might have done, but I'm sure he played with his kids out here, and there was probably a lot of really good memories here. Now, the home has undergone some renovations, so I'm not sure to what extent everything is original, but it is still on the same foundation. And one other interesting thing to note is that back in Lincoln's day, 1840s, 1850s, when he lived here, there was no indoor plumbing. Now inside they did have some bedpans, but if you had to do some business, you had to walk out here through the yard into this outhouse. Now imagine on a really cold Illinois winter day having to come in here to do your business. Now there's 3 different holes here. One of them would have been for Abraham, one of them would have been for Mary, and the smaller one would have been for the children. Something kind of fascinating about that. Now here's where the neighbors would have been. I believe there was a house here at one time, back when the Lincolns lived here. I believe this was a house, but it has been bulldozed, and I'm not sure if this serves as a park now or what. If somebody knows, please let me know. I did not see a placard or anything in front of this one, but I believe in his time there was a home here. Now, the first time I ever came to Springfield, Illinois was, I grew up in Illinois, and it was one of the places that we went for our 8th grade field trip. And they put us up instead of putting us up in a hotel, they put us up in a church. And the church was downtown, and when we were there, somebody broke in and actually stole all the kids' money. So that's kind of one of the biggest memories that I have of being here when I was a kid. Now this right here is the home across the street. This is the Harriet Dean home. And you can come into this home. There are exhibits inside that we'll go in and take a look at. So if and when you decide to visit, be sure to come and visit. Here's one of the exhibits in here. It says, "The Lincolns Buy a Home, May 2nd, 1844. Here's a small look at what the home looked like when they bought it. Like I said, it was a story and a half, and they raised it to be 2 full stories. I'm guessing that would be Lincoln on Old Bob. And here's some photos taken of Lincoln and Mary Todd in Springfield in 1846. It says these are the earliest known photos of Mr. and Mrs. Lincoln. That is really fascinating. So here's a photo taken of Lincoln, October 4th, 1859. In 1951, the state of Illinois did an archaeological dig, and these are the items that they found behind the Lincoln home. An axe head. Now, how some of this stuff ended up in the backyard is anyone's guess, but it's pretty neat to be able to see some of this. Shows a little bit of insight into the Lincoln life. And as you can see today, this is what the home looked like after it was raised to 2 floors. There's Mary Todd in the doorway, waving goodbye to Lincoln as he would have went to the state capitol to go to work or to his law office that was right across the street. Now here's an image of Lincoln February 9th, 1861. Now, before the presidency, Lincoln did not have a beard. Lincoln actually grew a beard, supposedly because there was a young girl named Grace that sent Lincoln a letter saying that his face was too narrow and that if he grew a beard, or whiskers as she called it, that it would be a lot easier for ladies to want to vote for him. And here's the exit to the home. Out back to the Lincoln neighborhood. Now, could you imagine coming out and just randomly waving to Abraham Lincoln? Obviously, at the time when he lived here, he was a prominent citizen of Springfield, but he wasn't president yet, so the full grasp of what he would end up doing with his life wasn't known until far later, but still a pretty cool thing to think about.
So to our left, go down to the back parlor along the railing. Just don't make a right turn and go into the dining room. Oh, amazing.
It's pretty neat.
Yeah, he came a long way.
In the mid-1840s, he'll serve 1 term in the U.S. House as a Whig. But by the 1850s, the Whig Party dissolves. So to fill that void, since we've been historically a 2-party system, we have the Republican Party now being born. And many of your Whigs become Republicans, as of course will Abraham Lincoln. So in 1855 and then 1858, he will run for a seat in the U.S. Senate in the state of Illinois. He loses both those elections. 58 will be the famous Lincoln-Douglas race. But we need that footnote, because from the time of the Constitution until the 17th Amendment, your U.S. senators were elected in your state legislatures, not in popular vote. So we can talk about Douglas beating Lincoln. Yes, of course he did, but when it happened in the state legislature.
Hang out here for just 1 second, we're gonna let this group know, let's leave this room and let the guy through, and then we'll fill that room. Alright, can you guys hear my group? Don't head in there just quite yet. Not yet. Thank you. Alright, now you guys can fill that room to the back for me.
And if you'll scoot all the way down, you guys will go all the way down, again, go right up to the railing. You see, I want you guys to see. This is part of the original layout. The Lincolns will call this their sitting room. So this is where the kids were supposed to be. This is where the family would gather at night. So at 6th floor, it's like, where would Mr. Lincoln sit? We do believe there was a sofa on this wall, but we also know he would lie down on the floor. So he'll be reading, he'll be playing with the kids. Mary could be at your right, that is her mirror and her sewing table. And for many years here, she'll make a lot of the clothing. The kids could be maybe playing with their dad, bugging their mother, or they could be to your left at the round table. The chess set is a reproduction, but that big 2-story brown box was their stereoscope. So for those of you who know what a Viewmaster is, that's your precursor to the Viewmaster. Those were very expensive when they came out. This gives us insight into family finances. In other words, we're doing pretty well at this point. Victorian era, look at the drapes, all that extra fabric at the bottom. That is called puddling. That is a status symbol. You're showing people you can afford to do it for no good reason. As far as your decorating, this is pretty typical middle class, upper middle class for the 1850s, 1860s in the Midwest. So any questions in here?
What about the balances?
Yep, look in the drawings. There they are.
What were they supposed to be?
Fancy.
Brass or something?
I'm sorry, just some kind of gilded metal. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you like them?
They're hideous, actually.
I think so. That's kind of why I was answering like that. It's like, oh my God, no, tell me you like those.
This is only our first stop. Got a lot more of the home to see. I'm gonna say this way through the dining room. You'll see
And we'll hang it right. People are surprised. They're surprised how big it is. Because when you look at the front, you don't see that back wing, you know, so it has over 3,000 square feet today. I mean, that's a good size home today. Come on in, come on in. Come on in. Okay, let me just do this real fast. I'll do it the easy way. Now remember, I taught teenagers. I don't think you guys can shock me. Anybody here love it?
I love everything.
I don't think anything's hideous.
Thank you. Okay, now again, honesty. Anybody hate it? Okay, I appreciate that. Well, you know, downstairs I told you they think they're very, very close to what it was. This is what they had up here. And you're going to say, well, how do you know that? When the state of Illinois had the property, they were taking layers of things tenants had put on this wall when they were peeling back, and we still have it, a piece of the original. They did their research, and they found it came in a couple of other color choices, and this was the one Mary selected. You know, you can imagine a gamut of reactions. Some people love it, some people hate it. So any questions in here?
Are these his boots over here?
No, they're just giving you an example. He wore a size 14. Again, we'll do 2 rows here. This one you just don't want to lean on. So when you guys first come in, come up close to the railing, and then we'll do the second row behind us. I see you guys went to the museum. How was it?
It's okay,
Come on in.
but after seeing her dresses, it seemed that she would have picked this wallpaper.
That's interesting.
Scooch in.
Come on in. Come on in. As quick as a lightning wings. Come on in. Pretty sweet. Look at how low where the ceiling is in here. This is Mary's side. The dresser she brought when she moved from Lexington. The rocking chair footstool belonged to her. She's 5'2", to his 6'4". The dress is not hers. They're giving you an example. When they added these bedrooms upstairs, Robert gets his own room initially across the hall. Willie and Tad will be in here on a trundle bed. But when Robert left in 1860 to go to school, Willie and Tad get the room next. So that's what you see. At the end of the hall, it may be me. At the end of the hall is the hired person's room. Just don't go downstairs to we'll all ready.
Spread out.
So we'll go.
Did she say to go downstairs?
Pretty neat.
Worried about ice storms taking out your power.
Hopefully you enjoyed that tour of the Lincoln home. Now be sure to like and subscribe if this is your first time here. There's going to be a lot of other Lincoln sites that I'm going to give you from Springfield, as well as a lot of other historic sites, Hollywood locations, filming locations, and everything else you can think of. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.